Okay, everybody, we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. We're just getting some other things lined up, and we're going to get started here in a minute or two. We'll let other people get logged in. We'll be back here very shortly. Okay, let's go ahead and get rolling. I've got a couple logistics to start here, and want to make sure that we get through this. We want to make sure we're a little thorough, making sure we get through this not only just quickly, but we'll also make sure that we give you guys the most added value that we can. So, so hopefully you know that by now, if you're in business, that it's not a matter of, if, but a matter of when that you're going to need an SEO expert or company to help you gain more traction in the online marketing factors. Most of the guerrilla marketing still works, but now about 86-90% of your customers are online. They're looking for your particular services. So, it's a fact that if you're not online, you're losing a lot of business. So we're going to go ahead and start moving forward. We're going to be covering a lot of material today, and we're going to be moving pretty fast. So I do recommend you take, notes and focus on the webinar. I know how easy it is to get to, how to multitask and get distracted when you're on your computer, but I'm a firm believer that single tasking is the best way to really learn something in a short period of time. Also, if you have any questions, put them in the chat and see if we can get back to them. And then we're going to try to answer any questions that we can, because we have a long webinar. And take your time to put in your questions, because ultimately that's basically where we can respond back during the course of the webinar and then thereafter. And then we can help assist you in gaining the knowledge that you rightfully deserve. So if I don't get to your specific question, don't worry. Someone from the team or I will personally will follow up, and then we'll make sure we get back to your question, make sure it gets answered. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move forward and dive in. And the subject again is SEO optimization for small businesses. And these are the type of strategies for small businesses. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware of what's going on out there and why it's so important. So first things first, what should your business care about in SEO? Why should you even give anything or at all of the market tools that are available to you to spend the time and effort to optimize your website for greater visibility in search engines like Google and Bing? Go ahead and formulate your questions and your answers as well. But I can count on one, maybe two fingers, the number of small business owners who complain about having too much time and too many resources at their disposal when it came to marketing. In other words, most of you have a few extra resources, and so you're very protective over how you use them. You don't have a lot of time or patience for experimenting with new strategies or testing and improving theories. Well, I think we've all been there. But you want to invest your money where it'll have the highest return. And ROI is very important, especially when you're trying to do different types of marketing strategies. And I get it. But hey, I'm a small business owner too, So I have to look at certain aspects of things, and then I have to wonder, am I spending my money and my time doing the most effective thing that is necessary for my business as well? Well, I will submit to you that you can't do much better than SEO. I will tell you why 93% of all online experiences begin with a search engine. 97% of consumers search online for local businesses. So that number fluctuates depending on where you get your information from. That's about right. It's between 86 and 97%, depending on the niche and market. So that's definitely true. And finally, the majority of web traffic is driven by the big three search engines. And we all know who they are, right? Google with about 2/3 of the market share, followed by Bing and then Yahoo. All of these stats tell a pretty straightforward story, about how businesses is conducted in the digital age in today's technology world, and especially if you're dealing with online and branding online. So given that so much of our interaction with brands happens online, it's no surprise that businesses are spending a lot of time and money, trying to boost their visibility on the web, especially on the search engines. SEO is one of the best ways to do that. Best because it's effective, affordable, and it's a proven strategy. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of other ways to market. But if you're talking about SEO technology in today's environment, this is where you can be successful because you can become the market leader. And if you can't adjust with today's marketing strategies, you might get lost in the sauce, so to speak. So you got to understand that if somebody's selling shoes at a local market and then somebody's sitting at a computer looking for shoes, the ideal is to make you more popular because you sell a certain type of shoe or a variety of shoes that someone may be looking for. And SEO does that. It connects you with those people who are looking for goods and services that you may be offered in your niche, and you want to be the most popular person there. So it's advantageous that you understand that SEO is the key. Now, I get it. Some people call you or email you all the time talking about how to do SEO. Well, some people can do SEO and some people can't do SEO, and it is definitely in your best interest to search out those companies who've been doing it for a while or who can prove that they can do SEO. So the thing is, like GBHA Global, my company, we rank things on the basis of your local niche, and then we prove to you it can be ranked, or we won't even charge you. So the bottom line is that you need to know that these methods work, and the more you're out in the front above your competitors, and trust me, your competitors know who's on top, because at the end of the day, it's all about that money. So, well, let's dive a little deeper into this who cares question. Okay, so maybe you're wondering why you should invest in SEO. Okay, well, when you can just run ads and leapfrog to the top of the search list, I guess that's one particular method. Well, that's one approach, but it's typically a very costly one when especially you're not using variations of your marketing strategies. So without that, you're not going to be able to diversify your marketing capability and your strategies. So typically, ads are a very costly one as well. But the bigger the flaw that's to that approach is simply that it's less effective. People aren't as likely to click on sponsor ads, and when they still less likely, to actually buy what's on those little yellow spots above there. So when I say those little yellow spots, I mean those little gray squares when you're in the search engines. So, and if you don't know what that is, you know, let's take a look here. We're gonna scroll from the process here for a second, and we're gonna go inside Google. We'll pull that up real quick, and let's go to the search engines there. I'll give you a little preview here. Okay, let's do, Dentist Atlanta. And see, these are, search variations here that give you the information here. Atlanta Buckhead. So let's try that. I guess I need to know who I am here. Log on here. All right, so here we go. So basically what that means is, when we're looking at different aspects of, we'll click back on here. We're looking at this right here. These are paid ads right here. And that's basically what's being told. These ads right here, a lot of people don't want to click on these. They want to click on something that's close by them, like right here. And that's basically what we're getting at. So we'll go ahead and look that down. Because, basically a lot of customers, they, hold on one second here. You can't hear me? Okay, and give me a thumbs up when you can hear me. Oh, some of you can hear me, some of you can't hear me. Okay. Hold on for a second. Let me see if we can adjust something here. Okay. Okay. Looks like you might want to refresh your screen. We just checked out everything here, so it seems to be okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward here. Again, organic is better, and you want to look at something that's going to be more authentic than the ads that we just previously showed. So, like I said, most consumers are less likely to click on a sponsor ad. Some will, some won't, but being naturally authenticated in the search engines and being in the Google's top 7 will help you gain a lot more business and a lot more visibility, which is what you want. So 77% of searchers choose organic over paid anyway. I mean, those are just the paid listings I showed you, but 67 choose organic searches results when they're purchased. Guys, that's a huge number. I mean, that's why it's important to be in your local market. You want to be here in this arena. You want to be number one. Not only being just first page. First page of Google is always good as well. And having the right reviews. We also offer a review package. At gbhjglobal.com. Click and get you some where it's at. And if you can get your website to show up on the top of the organic results, you're essentially in the pole position as the business. I mean, you're the creme of the de la creme, so to speak. I mean, you're there where you need to be so people can find you. And then some businesses just don't get that. And especially if you're doing SEO and you got a bad reputation, not good at all. Not good at all. Because now you're marketing a bad reputation when you haven't fixed that yet. So those are two main things that we discuss. If you call us, is we're going to ask you about your, we're going to ask you about your reputation. We're going to ask you if you've been doing SEO, and has anybody successfully did SEO before, or PPC ads, anything of that nature to get your phone ringing. And we're going to ask you those questions. The reason why is because we're after your success. We want you to be successful. So, but organic search is definitely where it's at. And if you're number one, people tend to find you a lot quicker and a little more often. So, even though organic click-through generates 25% more sale conversions than pay-per-click ads, as you can see, organic search and unpaid listings are more than likely the additional factors that can actually boost your bottom line. And if you get your website to show up on the top of the organic results, you're essentially not only going to get that boost. It varies between the niche, but more buyers will see your website and become customers. So it's more about a numbers game, but at the end of the day, if you're on the front page and your number, it's easy. And there's a couple of factors in there, but more than likely you're going to be the guy or gal that they go to. And that's what you want. So we're going to move forward. Now, I watch a lot of movies, and but this is a popular one. Have you guys ever seen the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger? I just thought I'd throw something in here. This is what the search engine results page looks like when a dreadlock alien in Predator visions what's going on. I mean, you really can't tell the exact scope there, but in all seriousness, what you're looking at on the slide is a heat map of a search engine result page, or what we call SERP. And this reveals what people look at when a search is performed on Google. As you can see, most of their attention, almost all of it, is focused on the top left of the page. This is the area known as SEO experts as the golden triangle, right? So when we talk about stuff, we want to right here, so I want to make sure we get that. But this right here is the area that we're talking about. And the reason why SEO experts focus on that, for your website and where it shows up, is because the majority of where the traffic is, they attract themselves towards on this Google page. And that can mean big money right there in that area, because people are looking for it. That's the first thing you see when it pops up in this area. And that's why we marked that like that. But when you optimize in the search engines, you're trying to show up in the golden triangle, not just on the first page, but the very top of the first page. And sometimes these websites and videos that we help rank, they can show up, depending on your area, on the whole first page, and sometimes the video gets very, very large. And it just depends on the area that you're in, and what we're trying to do to make you number one and get you on the first page of Google. So another question that some of our clients always ask, sometimes is, they're more like I want to address up front is whether SEO is a legitimate form of marketing. And some will say it's just a sneaky way to game the system, cut corners, or trick the search engines into giving your website a ranking it doesn't deserve. Well, I'm going to dispel that notion. SEO, well, to clarify, is legitimate except when it isn't. So, what do you mean? Legit or isn't legit? Well, you're saying like, well, Baldwin, is it legitimate or is it not legit? Well, which one is it? Well, SEO done the right way is legitimate. There is another form of SEO that people want, very fast rankings, called the black hat method. Unethical, spammy, high risk that, it can hurt your rankings. And we're not in the business of hurting people businesses. We're in the business of helping grow. So somebody's saying that they can boost your website overnight and make you #1 success. Be very leery of that, because today's current rankings is taking anywhere from 120 days, maybe 30 days, depending on your competition and the industry that you're in. So don't fall for that. I mean, that's the first thing I tell my clients or customers is that don't fall for that, because at the end of the day, you want natural organic search rankings, and that takes time, because SEO is not a race, it's a journey. Some things that we can rank quicker, we might can rank some of your videos quickly, or press releases quickly. But when it comes to your website and your niche, 30 days is the minimum to find out exactly what direction Google's going to take you in. So be leery of that, because we recommend a minimum of 120 days here for us, so we can get the strong foothold that we need to propel you forward and up and through the search engines. So now I'll talk a little bit about this black hat SEO. Not surprisingly, this is the bad kind. Black hat SEO, what it does, it gives all SEO a bad name. It relies on spammy, high risk strategies that test and routinely cross the boundaries of ethical behavior. Black hat strategies are very high risk because Google and other search engines, exact tough penalties. It could be on your site, your affiliate products, your videos, and that's when they catch people using them. In fact, they won't hesitate to permanently ban a website, a Google channel, or your video in a directory altogether. So you want to try to avoid that stuff. As Google's ranking algorithm has become more sophisticated over the years, it's much more harder to have success with black hat techniques. There has to be a much more diverse capability, and you have to go through very durational links in order to get these results. And some are successful and some are not, but just remember that they're high risk, and you want to try to avoid this altogether. So you're saying now, Baldwin, what is the right way? How should we find somebody? Well, I'm going to tell you, of course, contact Baldwin or Jeff at gbhjglobal.com, and we can help you put something together, start trying to propel you in the search engines. So I see you, Juan, and I see you, Rick, and I see you, Jeff. Correct. So black hat, correct. Black hat, very, very bad. You don't want that anywhere near you. And there are some guys who work black hat. We're not ones. We don't want to put you at risk. The bottom line is we rather take our time to rank you the right way, get you long term instead of short, high risk on your ROI that could lose your whole entire business online. So we don't do that. So you're welcome. Well, you got Ron here saying is that we're an ethical group here at gbxjglobal.com. And we are. We just want to do the right thing by our customers and our clients. So what is the right way? Right? So what's the right way? Well, there you go. That's your right way right there. White hat. Yeah, let's talk about white hat a little bit. And yes, this is the Dalai Lama you're looking at here. And if His Holiness were a search marketer, he'd surely engage in white hat SEO, aka the plain old SEO. I have no idea where a designer found an image like this, but it's awesome. It's cool. I like it. And white hat SEO, you don't have to worry about all that, karma payback. It's ethical. It's the, even the almighty Google gives the green light. Yeah, it does, because there are certain boundaries that, we don't really want to cross on certain aspects of SEO. I mean, the bottom line is, if we're helping people grow, you want to do it the right way, and you want somebody on your team doing things the right way. In fact, it might even surprise you or you guys out there to know that Google itself is one of the best sources of information on SEO. And that should tell you something if you're still concerned about SEO legitimacy. Google happily helps webmasters and business owners to try to prove or improve their positioning in the search engine results. And certain aspects of that can definitely be achieved. So how are we going to segue into this next section about how search engines work? Well, we got a lot of questions here. And the reason why we get a lot of questions here is because, a lot of people will be hearing a lot of different aspects about this part. And I just want to make sure that you're familiar with there's all different types of things about how they work. And I just want to put that out there. I want to make sure I put out my brief disclaimer. Okay. From here on, we're going to get into a little wonky stuff that, there's nothing to be a little scared. There's no reason to be scared of search engines. Okay. I'm going to just go over some stuff you should be familiar with. And I want you to sit back and, take notes and realize what we're saying. And, don't be afraid of it. It's not going to hurt you. So some of this might seem a little unnecessary. And the academic portion of this particular webinar, the exercise to explain how search engines work. But I promise you that there's a practical reason for understanding the basics, and this is why we're going over it. And here it is. If you know how search engines work, you'll be you'll be in a better position to understand how to build a site that ranks well. Does that make sense to you? So we're going to go ahead and move forward, and we'll start with let's just start with something. It might not seem a little familiar to you, but it's called crawling and indexing. And we just want to make sure that you understand portions of this and how it works. Okay. Some of you might recognize this picture. Looks like we didn't finish up some of this the text here, but anyway, some of you may have no clue, depending on when you were born, But this is a picture of a card catalog system used by the used by many libraries to organize all the books on their shelves, making them easy for a visitor to find the books that they were looking for. Well, that's what the search engines are doing. And that's what they've been doing, and they're just basically making things organized. Search engines have armies of automated robots, they're called spiders. And they can crawl through the many billions of web pages and images and videos and documents that they're on the web out there. And once the spiders find these pages, they analyze the code, and then they organize, aka the index. They try to categorize it really, and select the pieces in the masses of hard drives and the ginormous data centers that are out there to be pulled up later when a user punches in a search query, such as yourself. If you're looking for basket weaving 101 and you're in Google, then that's what it does. It's going to go into one of these little boxes over here and find basket weaving 101 and try to pull up all the information it can find on its database about that. So this explains how a Google search takes only a fraction of a second, when they already have a copy of the entire World Wide Web stored on their servers, so they can show you what you want very quickly. And you know how we are when we're online, nobody likes to wait. So that's what it basically boils down to, So now that you can, get a picture of organization and data, so let's go to the next thing. Well, as you can guess, the next important thing about our search engines is what it has to do with organization is how to decide is which piece of content out of the billions and billions that they have indexed should get shown to you when you do a search, right? So how do the big search engines decide who gets the top placement? Okay. Okay, Bob, I see you out there. Okay. And okay, we got some good answers coming in. You think it's a guessing game? Relevance. Oh, well, it's a good guess. Basically, it boils down to two criteria. Yes, and relevance and importance is one of them. Okay, so let's look into it. Relevance is somewhat straightforward, right? Does page talk about what the user's talking about? Does the search term or the keyword that you type in the search engine show up on the page? How many times? Where? Is it in the headline, the body, the URL, all of the above? What is a URL? Monica, a URL is just like a website domain, and how it appears right here. See, google.com, and that's your URL. It's just a domain name, so don't get confused on that. Okay. The second element of the importance, it gets a little trickier. This is where Google and others have to make more of a judgment call. It's a little gray area. In this case, Google takes, they take a democratic approach. They look at, which site gets the most votes, links. Google interprets a link as a vote of confidence for a website. If a site has a ton of incoming links, Google takes, notes of it, gives the site a little better positioning in the search engine process to making it more popular or number one on the first page. However, this is not a pure democracy. Some votes count more than others, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So for now, it's critical that you understand why the search engines are doing all of this work. I'll tell you, Google wants to be happy. Sounds familiar? Google wants users to be happy. So they return again and again and again and use their tool, their product, and click on a few ads every once in a while. Google's it's a paid traffic engine. That's why you see all those ads everywhere. That's how they make their money. If people aren't happy with the quality of search results, if they lose faith in Google's ability to deliver the useful information that you're looking for, so advertising dollars goes with them as well. This is a good example of a company's priority lining up their users. Because if you're in Google and you're typing in, Reebok shoes or the best tires, the best iPhone out there right now is the iPhone 6. So let's say you typed in iPhone 6 and a Motorola came up. That's going to look a little weird, don't you think? If I type in iPhone 6 or the best iPhone, right now it's iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus, and you got a Motorola that comes up. You're like, wait a minute, that's some weird stuff. So you're going to go somewhere else when you get better results, right? So that's why it's important for most of the information that is being populated when you type in the search result engines are, correlated with the responses that you're typing in the search bar. So that's that's very important to Google, and it should be important to you as well. So one of the other things when you're looking for search engine capability is, who's standing out, who's number one. So, okay, so that's a very high level of how, the search engines work. Now let's look at some other, side of the equation, how people, just like you and me, use search engines. This part is very important. So we got to look at it just a little closer. So I promise you, rewind, go back over a little more so you can understand what I'm about to tell you. So a huge part of a successful SEO strategy is getting into the mind of your customer, understanding their wants and needs and motivations. So, if you have it to temporarily set up outside your roles as a seller, and it isn't as easy as it sounds, but if you don't, you'll have a much harder time being successful, because what you're not doing is getting inside your buyers' minds and for what product or services that you're offering. So online, you want to make sure that your information is correlated with what you do. If you do teeth whitening and then all of a sudden then you're doing hair extensions or hair coloring, that's going to be confusing to a buyer who only wants their teeth whitening. So, and if you're doing teeth whitening, you have to have a business that's in teeth whitening, and like in dentistry, or just a whole business is just about teeth whitening. That's all you do. So this is very important when it comes to correlations and categories. So at this point, search engines play a bigger role than you thought in your life. And it feels like they've been a part of our life forever for now, because we've been online for a long time, so even since the early 90s. And then, we forget about how we use them. But it's worth thinking about, the various steps that we take when we conduct a search online, because it actually is pretty involved. And by thinking about these steps, it's a little mind-boggling of how it's being done. And then you're able to emphasize with your customer and tell your SEO efforts according to who, how, and when somebody searches for your type of product or service. So it all starts with the need for for an answer, a solution, or some type of information, bits and pieces of thereof. Well, to get there, we formulate the need in words and phrases, then enter the keyword search term in the search engines that we're on, whether it be Bing, Google, Yahoo. Then we browse through the results. We're clicking on the result that looks a little promising, because we all kind of guess sometimes when we're there. Judging by the small amount of given text, then we scan that page for a solution or a link to that solution. If we don't find what we're looking for, it's back to the search results about finding information that we're looking for, or the product or services that we're going to try to find a solution for. And if, nothing else looks promising, we start over, or we'll try a different, search engine. And performing a new search and keyword search term, it may yield a better result. We don't know, but we're going to go look, and then we'll decide on something from there. So that's pretty much how we go through our thought and mind processes of how we get online and searching for things. So, but, to get you into that mindset, that's just a little window. In order to train your brain to think like your customer, you're probably going to have to temporarily abandon some of your bias habits and shortcuts, because you're the expert. So, just a little lead in here. If I'm a mechanic and I know about certain systems and electrical systems in a car, it's going to be kind of obvious to me what I'm going to be looking for, but not to your customer. They're going to hear that little clink or clank, or radio flicking on and off, or, the battery dispelling, and it doesn't charge, or got to keep jumping it. So, I asked the one client, how can people search for them online? It says, well, they can search by, my business name. So if you're into tire repair, let's just say that, how is somebody going to know that you do tire repair? So he gave me his business name. I said, well, let me ask you this. If I'm searching for tire repair, am I going to type in your business name, or am I going to type in tire repair? He said, oh. I said, yes. Oh, I don't know who you are. But if I go to my search engine, I have a problem, I'm going to type in tire repair. I'm not going to type in your business name unless I know you. And then if I know you, I'm going to type in your business name, which goes to reputation management. And I'm going to look up the reputation on you. But first, I'm going to type in tire repair, see who's close, and then who's going to be the best person to help me solve my issue. And that's how that works. And this is how I teach all my clients. I make sure we get that out there, because you got to understand, if you have a business online, you have a reputation, and you got to protect that too. So that's another part of SEO. But reputation management is big now. It's going to be very big here in the next 18 and 24 months. So you can go to gbhjglobal.com, and then there's a webinar for that too. And we show you how to protect your reputation and all that good stuff. So whatever industry you're in, you got a reputation. Whatever industry you're in, you're going to need SEO. That's just the bottom line. Yes, Kim. Yes. Reputation is very big. And yes, it can help you with rankings, and it can help you with getting more customers, because if you have a better reputation than over your competitors, then more likely they're going to pick you. It takes about 6 to 10 positive reviews, 5-star reviews, to help you with that. Ron, Nick, send questions. That's going to be in a later webinar, reputation management. So we want to make sure we focus on the SEO here today. But yeah, I could mention it here, probably show you some things in here as well. But we'll try to get to that later on. But yes, reputation does work. It helps a lot of companies. It helps protect and build it first. I recommend building your reputation and then marketing a company, or a combination thereof at the same time. Okay, so Like I said before, I asked this customer about how they can find them in tire repair. And, he kept saying, well, they got to search for my name. I said, well, they don't know your name. They only know their issue. They don't know you. So they're going to type in tire repair, and then whoever comes up, and hopefully you're within the top, the top 7, right here, so they can find you, or you're on the first page of Google, somewhere in here, just like these dentists are. So, and there you go. There's their reputation right there. And, it just goes to show you who's after it more. So this is a prime example. Yeah. Cut my throat there a little bit. So, and that's what it basically boils down to. All right. Let me grab something to drink here a little bit. So we continue. And we're looking over here next is we're going to look into some of these components of the search engine and how they look at things like keywords and other managed services here. Well, we're approaching 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes, approaching the 1 hour mark. You guys are staying in there and taking some valuable. So now there's there's an entire industry of businesses that specialize in providing, ongoing IT support to other businesses that don't have or can't afford their own internal IT department. But these businesses call themselves managed service providers, because they provide a fully managed IT service to other businesses. They call themselves MSPs for short. Well, but here's the thing. No one else calls them managed service providers or MSPs. They're known to the world as IT people or computer support guys, geeks. Yeah, I speak geek, so. But as I'm going through my thought process here, I call it geek a lot. Seems like, yeah, I speak geek, talk geek. I don't look geek, but at some point we have to get some things done so we can help everybody out. But moving on, no one who needs help with their broken computer is going to, they're not going to go to Google and, type in managed service provider. I'm not going to know who a managed service provider is. This is, this is getting into that thought process I was telling you about when, your customers are looking for you. So whatever industry or niche you're in, you probably adopted its own language, its own customs. But, but for SEO purposes, you need to also adopt the language and customs of your customers. If your messaging isn't optimized for them, you're not speaking to them. You're speaking to the colleagues and competitors. And sometimes your colleagues and competitors can help you, but they're not going to bring in your customers. Sometimes, some rare occasions, or likely they're going to take it for them. I mean, they're going to take that opportunity for themselves. But needless to say, that's not going to help you. Okay, that's just the bottom line. So, looking at different aspects and the jargon and how you're talking, you need to make sure that it's it's receptive to your customers, because that's your target audience. So if you take one thing from this webinar, I want you to ponder a little bit, get inside your customer heads. I want it to be this: build for people, not for Google. Build for people, not for Google. Why do I say that? Say it with me. Build for, no, just kidding. I won't make you do that. But it's important that you know that this is a bedrock principle of good SEO. Never lose track of the fact that you're trying to reach people. They are the people who buy your products and services. And not express that in such a great tone for you guys. Okay. So we talked about how search engines work and and how people use search engines. Now, let's segue into how you can design or modify your website to improve its visibility. The stuff I'm going to talk about and then, in this section is mostly invisible to the people that visit your website, but it's critical behind the scenes stuff that is real important to the search engines. One of your primary goals when doing SEO is to make it easy for the search engines to find and index your site or catalog your site for those old school guys. It's a bit techy, and I promise not to spend too much more time on it, but definitely want to hit on it so you're familiar with it. And, we got to get around some of these terms so you can understand what some of these things look like and what's on the back end. Because it's not like the old school days where you just throw up a website and said, here I am. It doesn't work that way. Unless you're buying all the traffic and pushing a lot of people towards that site. And then, you might have some up there, but, more than none, the guy who's figuring that site got his site, the right way or structured the right way or categorized the right way. Yeah, he might beat you out. It's a good chance he will. Okay, first, it's important to understand that search engines don't look at web pages the same way that a human does. And that's why this slide is up here. For starters, search engine spiders are image blind. They don't see images, like you and I do. So they can read text, but they can't see graphics, photos, or illustrations. Well, not yet anyway, but I'm pretty sure they're working on it right now. Google's hard at work trying to remedy this thing. So, they have a lot of programmers there. So I'm pretty sure they'll come up with something pretty soon. But it might be in a few years before spiders can interpret the content of an image. Until then, you need to make sure that your site is conveying enough text-based information so the spiders can successfully determine what your site is about, what's relevant. If I have, a site about, dog catchers and, it looks like it's about horse training, something wrong with that. So if I got dog catchers on here and then training, the spiders are confused. It doesn't know how to categorize that. I guess you can categorize it in animals. But what you don't want to do is have the spiders trying to guess where you want your content to be placed. You want to tell those spiders where you want it placed. So even though they can do text-based information, and some spiders can successfully determine whether your site is relevant for a given search term, you don't want to take that chance. So most of your website's content is nonverbal, image-based, or you're not giving the spiders much information to go on. And it will be much harder for you to rank for your preferred keyword terms if there's a disparity there. But if your content really flows about dog catching, instead about horse training, you'll be fine. So just keep it relevant, keep it in unique fashion, and keep it in its tone base. Dog catcher, horse trainer. I need a page about horse trainer or a website about horse trainer. It doesn't need to have a dog catcher in there. So when you're not giving the spiders much information to go on, it will definitely be harder to rank for those particular terms that you're trying to achieve the rankings for. This is a big mistake on a lot of businesses that they make for their websites, because they just want them to look pretty and big and flashy, and that there's not enough text. This virtually guarantees that your site won't rank well at all. A lot of nice content in the front, a lot of flash and dash, no problem. But that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for relevant content. A serious reader that comes to your site is looking for your products and services. Flash and dashes will last but so long, but what's the message? What is the information you're trying to give out to them? That's how it basically works. So Spiders don't like, us. They can't see those images, but they're very much like us. That they follow links and they visit websites. So if your pages in your site are not linked together in a clear way, the spiders won't crawl through the index or to index your site or to properly categorize it. So the content in these, unlinked pages called orphans, they won't get indexed, which makes it hard for you to make a case for relevance because there's no tie back. There's nothing there that ties that back to the page that you just read. So one of the surest ways to make sure that your pages get indexed is to have a good link navigation structure that promotes easy crawling. So once your page goes from dog catcher to dog training, there needs to be a link in there or tied in somehow to get back to your homepage. So another way to help the search engine spiders is to use robots, specifically the robots text file, which gives instructions to the search spiders. By using robots text, you can tell the search engines which areas of the site that should or should not be crawled, making it easier for the search engines to find your good content. You put all that work into that site, you want to make sure that they find it, and there's a definition for that. It's called sitemaps. So, sitemaps are another tool, you can use to make it life easier for Google to, to underwork their spider, so to speak, and they're online crawling around and around. And a sitemap is a list of files that essentially gives hints to the search spiders on how they can crawl your website, and they help search engines find and classify the content on your site that they, may not have found before or on their own. Again, the easier you make life for the spiders, the better your chances of ranking in the search results. So this is basically a playbook for the spiders to come and crawl your site, and you're telling the spiders, this is what I want you to put in the search engines for me. This is my relevance, and this is how I want you to view me. That's basically it. So they can be made all types of variations as well. Another way to help the search engines is to ping them. Anytime you create new content for your site, then you publish the content on the site. You have somebody put that on there for you, you do it yourself. It's always a good idea to make sure to notify or ping the major blogging tracking services like Google, Technorati, and Yahoo, and let them know that you got new content. This right here, when you start talking, pinging and stuff like that, it's supposed to send the spiders to come crawl. And you're telling them about what page and what area that's pretty much brand new that's on your site. So you might have great new content, and that will increase the likelihood of your site to be indexed or climb in the rankings. But if the spiders don't know, or Google doesn't know, they're going to have to find you unless you tell them. The nice thing is that there are a lot of tools and services out there to automate the process, so you don't really have to do anything much and put this particular variation. There's a lot of pingers out there. So moving to a more, structure-based section in this particular training is how to structure your URLs, right? Is another important thing to consider. The URL is the address of your website. I was explaining that, of course. And yes, Ron, that works with certain aspects. And bulkping.com is a pinger. If you guys don't know that. Yes, that's right. It's bulkping.com. That'll work. So the address of your website, there's a certain structure you use, but that has an impact on spiders and your your human readers, because you want to make sure something is short and rememberable. So in general, what you want your web pages to have URLs that are short, static, not dynamic, descriptive, and if it's hyphenated, it can be a little too long sometimes. So you want to make something that's readable and rememberable so that somebody can say. So why shorter better? Well, it's easier. Jackie, Lisa, I see you in there. It's easier. You don't want something like, the best day of my life I've ever had in New York City, come see me now.com. That's way too long. So you want to try to keep it short, 3 or 4 words tops maybe. And you want to keep it easier for somebody they can see it and type it out. You don't want something that long. You don't want to send it up there. And you want something that's easy to remember, share. Also remember that, your URLs or your URLs actually appear in the search engines. If your URL is too long, it'll appear truncated in the results. It won't even look right. So also on this slide, you'll see, look at the red. Okay, an example of a dynamic URL. It doesn't provide much, description in any way. It's not helpful to the humans or spiders. Static URLs like the one in the green, it's better because it communicates something to you. It tells you what your website is. You can have a descriptive reading, mywebsite.com or .org. I mean, it's pretty much there. And you want your URL to be descriptive of the content that is on the page. That's called exact match domains, or EMDs. You can use that sometimes, especially in branding. I would definitely do that, especially if you're branding yourself. This is helpful in both ways to the search engines and your visitors, because they can actually remember what you're about. So, Dr. Davis Dental Group, the Plastic Surgeons, Georgia, the Plastic Surgeons, Florida, something that they can, relate to, correlate to. Lastly, in some cases you want to use hyphens if you can't get the domain name, if you're buying it, or any other character to separate the words in your URL. Hyphens are the most commonly used and understood separators, so you can use those. And on this slide, you'll see the example of a URL for, copy blogger, at the bottom. And these are important attributes because it's telling you what it really is. Copy blogger, copyblogger.com. Simple, straightforward, and to the point. You don't want some, long drawn out piece of information. www.copytheblogger, that we do this.com. You don't want something like that. You want something relevant, something close to the actual, content and title, stuff like that. So that's a great example. Okay, so. Okay, so we're just reaching over a little hour there. You guys okay? Thumbs up? All right. Doing good. Doing good. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and move forward and push through this and, get this thing moving. So, so those are, so those were some of the more technical things you can do to help, rank your site higher. Most businesses don't pay attention to any of these things, and their rankings suffer really because you got to pay attention to some of these things. And if you don't want to do them, you can just call gbhglobal.com, Jeff or Baldwin or anybody that picks up, and say, hey, that was too much stuff on the webinar. We'd just rather hire you to do it. How can we get you to help us out? Book some time, and then hit the time button. We'll put it up here on the screen, and then you'll use that and then book some time with us. And, right there, here's the time button right here. And all you do is click that and book some time with us right now. So moving on, a lot of technical things we talked about that, can rank or won't rank your sites. And we're going to switch gears here a little bit and talk about the ins and outs and do's and don'ts of content creation. The reason why is because, most people need to understand this, and it pertains to search engine optimization, because content is got to be relevant to what you're doing. So that's one thing you need to look at, understanding who's your buyer. The most important thing about, creating content is that you realize that ultimately it's real people who buy your stuff, not, engines, search engine spiders, real people out there is looking to see what you got going on. They want to know more about the product or service you're selling, because they're trying to convince themselves to buy your product, your service. So, and the way you can do that is through persuasive content. You can only get so far if the focus all your efforts on persuading Google. In the end, you've got to persuade a flesh and blood person to take action. Thus it's worth repeating, So your writing has to be for people, not the search engine. You know what I mean? So it's imperative that your content is relevant to who you're trying to convince for, your products or services. So, content online right now is known as the undisputed king of the internet. Without good content or persuasive content, understandable content, things of that nature, you're not going to get very far in your efforts to improve your visibility online, because that's what Google's all about. Why is this relevant? Why are you here? Does this make sense? How many people are looking for it? A lot of different back-end factors here. You've got to make a point to create compelling content that your customers will find useful time and time again and engaging. Well, let me clarify on a couple of things here. There's a difference between engaging content and link bait. Link bait is a term used to describe content that exists purely for the purpose of getting clicks. It has no other fulfillment value there. It's just you to get a click, and somebody's getting paid every time you click on it. It's just going to happen. This kind of content is the junk food of the web. High in calories, but low in nutritional value. Further, it doesn't drive the kind of quality traffic you should be aiming for. So you're focused on creating high value content, not link bait. That means, you got to understand that you got to have content with value that's going to give somebody the feeling that they can trust what you're saying, not just some information that goes back and clicks to some other website that has nothing to do with what you're talking about, nothing to do with the problem, nothing to do with the issue, and nothing to do with the solution. Let me say that again. Content that solves a problem, that can address an issue and provide solutions or possible solutions, is where you want your content to be. You don't want it to be talking about carrot juice and the effects of carrot juice and the beta carotene that's in there versus grape juice. You can do a compare and contrast, but you want to talk about the carrot juice and how that's going to help you, because that's the stuff that they're interested in. If you're a doctor, whether you're a dentist or surgeon, chiropractor, you want to stay on elements that surrounding you in your local market, or elements that you can prove through your experience that works or have worked, or capability to solve or may solve a solution. Hopefully that makes sense. Did you get that? Okay. All right, great. So now let's look inside your customer minds a little bit. And great content starts with keyword research. Keyword research is one of the most important activities in SEO. I don't care who you are, where you've been. It's all about what you're writing about and what is needed out there in that market and your market and what needs to be marketed. After all, oh, you like that? You like that, Jen? Okay, it's good. After all, search all begins with words that your customers type into the search box. Remember the example I gave you about earlier about the guy was telling me about his business, and I was talking about tire repair. Well, that's what keywords is. It's not about me, it's about them. It's about what I'm looking for. It's about my problem, my issue, and how you can solve it. So I'm not going to know your business, guys. Okay. People are like, well, they should just type in my business name. Some owners really think that if you type in their business name, they're going to come up with that information. I told them it doesn't work that way. If I sell auto parts, I have a local auto parts store I was talking to one day, and I said, well, I was looking for something for my car and I couldn't find you. He said, well, you should have typed in my business name. I said, I don't know your business name. I couldn't remember your business name. But I do know that I needed a distributor cap, or I needed a gas cap. And that's what I'm going to type into the search engines. Gas cap for my Chevrolet Tahoe, or a gas cap for my 750 BMW. Gas cap, gas cap for my Volvo. Gas cap for my F-150 Ford. My Chevrolet Silverado, my whatever car. I need a gas cap for it. That's what your customers are typing in. They don't know you yet. But when they do type that in, guess who needs to be at the top of the list? Exactly, Ron. You do. Now, ranking for the right keywords is the ultimate goal of search engine optimization. That's it. Ranking for the right words in your market, your niche, your service corridors, as I call it, is where you want to be. You want to be primed and ready so you can receive those particular customers. And ranking for the right keywords will help you draw the right visitors to your website. The people who are already willing and able to purchase your service, products, and goods. Keyword research is absolutely critical if you want to maximize the ROI of optimization efforts in SEO. Guys, that is so important that you understand that is your bread and butter. Having the right keywords, having the right language, the content, you got to have that. You got to have that type of stuff. And that promotes, understanding keyword research promotes good content and your search of good. It's just the bottom line. So let's change the angle here a little bit. There are several things to consider when choosing, what keywords to focus on in your website. The starting point, of course, is relevance. If you sell vacuums, you're going to focus on vacuum keywords. But the relevance is just one of the many considerations. You also need to consider the volume of the searches and the competitiveness of a given keyword. You need to also think about intentions behind the given keyword as well. For example, consider the motivation behind the keyword cheap vacuum. So compared to the search term best vacuum, let's say you specialize in selling high-priced Dyson machines or Dyson vacuums. They're pretty expensive. They're good, but they're expensive. And they're so powerful, and that you can have or make sure that your tiny little lap dog isn't in the room when you're vacuuming, because some of these things, they really scare those little puppies out of the way. You just don't want to scare your dog the whole time you turn on your vacuum. But obviously, you're going to want to optimize for the term best vacuum, because that's what you're selling. You're selling the better vacuum, the best vacuum, because that's what you're in the market with, and that's your product. If you optimize for the other term, you're going to draw a lot of unqualified traffic to your site. People who can't afford, don't need, or don't want what you sell. You want somebody who's in the market for the best vacuum cleaner, And that might be the Dyson. If you optimize it for the best vacuum cleaner, vacuum cleaner, and it is a Dyson, then that's what you're optimizing for. So it sounds pretty basic, and it is, but you'd be surprised to learn how often businesses pick keywords simply because they have a high search volume. Even when less used keywords would drive higher quality traffic, somebody who's more likely to buy your product and result in more conversion and sales. You'd be surprised. So, yes, George. Yes, okay, George. I can explain this a little further. You would think that you would go after the one with the million, monthly searches. So, let me explain that. That's not a problem. Let me explain that. So, the bottom line here is, if you're in the vacuum market, I know the best vacuum in my, in my storage or on my shelves are the Dyson. So that's what I want to sell. I want to sell a high quality product. So if I do that, then I want to go after people who's searching for that. Does that make sense? By you throwing a million, even if you get 10 or 15% of this right here, you're throwing a lot of unqualified personnel towards your website. Does that make sense? All right. All right. Good. So if you put in best Dyson vacuum cleaner, that's a little more targeted. If I put in the best vacuum cleaner, it's more targeted. So would you want 1 million people going after vacuum cleaners that are just pondering around? Or would you want to go after the people with best vacuum cleaners that are targeted at 90,000? You have the best vacuum cleaner, so if you put it up there, you're going to see the Dyson. And then you have content why the Dyson is more, in your favor, the best vacuum cleaner. Your chances of getting sales are higher. So if you're talking about quantity is better, then, I have to disagree with you there. I'd rather have a targeted quantity that's looking for my product than a larger quantity striking out on my product. I want to put my product in front of somebody who's looking for it already. All right. So let me put it like this. Remember the car situation I put you in? If I have a BMW and I'm on a BMW lot, I'm going to talk about BMWs. And I want to put my advertising in front of people who are in the market for a BMW. Give me a 3 if that makes sense. All right, good. That's how it works online. That's why TV commercials are broadcast nets. You don't want broadcast nets all the time. That can bring attention, but you want to bring the right attention. So for BMW owners or BMW future owners, you want to show them online, you are the BMW king. And how do you do that? By going online and doing these searches. Because online, Google is telling you who's looking for it. Google is telling you best vacuum cleaner. 90 people are looking for that search term. Vacuum cleaner, 1,220,000. Cordless vacuum cleaner, which is a better targeted word, 14,000 people. So would I want to rank my website for cordless vacuum cleaner, or would I want to rank it for vacuum cleaner thinking I'm going to get a better quality traffic? Well, it might surprise you, but cordless vacuum cleaner is the better pick, because you might have a lot of tire kickers in vacuum cleaner. But if you're looking out for people who want some cordless vacuum cleaner, that is more defined, and that's how it works online, and that's what you want. If you want to blast away at vacuum cleaner, be my guest. But for me and my business owners and the way that I teach, go after what you're doing. Because if you put yourself in front of what you're doing, your chances grow exponentially when you're looking to sell your products and services. Okay, guys. Now we're almost going on to an hour and a half here. I'm trying to speed up things a little bit. Hopefully you understood that right there. And want to make sure we, move forward with this content. So pushing out content more frequently is the best thing to do. Frequent is good because the spiders keep coming back. And if you have social profiles, which are very important, you definitely want to start looking at those, because once you push out more content, it gets out there more rapidly and more frequently, and that's what it looks more refreshing, and that's what Google looks for. So what I mean by that is that you want to frequently create fresh content for your visitors so they can come back and read what you have. Search engines know that information is changing daily, so that's what they're doing. They're looking for things that are changing. So if you're changing with that, and then they say, well, this site over here, it's an authority in my area, and I'm going to go and pull some information from that, and it'll start pulling it automatically. And that's what you want. Up-to-date content, up-to-date information, and dispatch so the spiders can crawl and index every web page you can find or more new content from your site. But, Google will not recrawl your site if it thinks your content is stale or hasn't changed. And that's the thing that you need to know about. And if your site isn't being crawled, it sure is going to be moving up in the ranks. It's probably moving down, and it's get displaced with new, fresher sites and new, fresher content. That's why it's always a good idea to go there and put something new on your site that's relevant to your niche or your market. So it's super important that Google gives you a reason, that you give Google a reason to return to your site on a regular basis. That means regular updating your site and new content, including text, images, and videos. Videos is very big. We do review videos, commercials, and they work very well in the search engines, and it gives your customer, patient, the insight on who you are as far as you're doing review commercials, which is about reputation. So that's some good stuff as well. So let me change this slide here. Okay. All right. So speaking of video, this is a great way to get on that competitor's edge, is by having something that's relevant about you and your business, because video is equity in your business. There's tons of empirical evidence out there about video and an effective way to climb up the rankings in a short period of time, even in heavily competitive industries. This is due to the part that Google classifies video separately as in search results, and relevant descriptions and tagging your video the right way will help you rank. So get filming, get shooting some things about your company or a video about your business, and get it on your your YouTube channel, which is very good to have. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Tumblr, all those are good to have right now. So you should be looking into that. So, and another way to get content noticed is to create lists. You've probably noticed this already, but the internet is made up of a bunch of lists. There's a good reason for this. Google likes this format, and so do humans, since the 10 Commandments, I guess. And probably long before then, we've been creating lists, maybe for a long time. And maybe we like them because they tell us in advance what we're going to get. It's just being direct, being transparent. I mean, it tells you what it is. So for whatever reason, I encourage you to create content that fits into this structure right here that's being displayed before you. And it'll help you in your SEO efforts greatly. But there's a couple of tweaks you might need to do first. So Let's get a little geeky real quick. Let's talk code for a second, maybe just a little bit, specifically meta and title tags. Don't get scared of me, guys. Come on. These are two different important. Yeah, I know you're not going to be like coding or branding to the umpteen power. It's not going to be nothing like that. So you don't have to shy away from it. It's not going to hurt you. There are two important pieces of HTML that you should pay attention to when you're creating and posting your content. Every page on your site should have a unique descriptive, meta, and title tag. I mean, there's no other else for me to say that. That's just what it is. The meta tag doesn't actually display on the page, but search engines display this text in the search results. So just like we used the dentist piece before, let me bring that back up. See right here, they're only going to show it so much. Google's only going to show it so much. See, this is coded to where, you got a couple words here. They got it in there like this. And then, but you can read all of this right here. So I know that Buckhead Dental Associates Family Dentistry is then Buckhead. That makes sense to you. And Buckhead, Georgia Dentist, things of this nature. It looks somewhat just like this right here. Terry, this right here is, he's asking about the capability. Some SEO guys use this to engage, to see what the trust factor is and how Google sees things. But you won't have to worry about this unless you're going to become an SEO guy in your private practice. But that's all that is. That's just metrics for, or one of the many tools we use to gauge what Google and how Google thinks of certain sites. So that's what that is. So we don't want to get into that right now, but you can ask me offline and I'll tell you all about it. So, okay, so getting back to the mild geeky stuff, the pieces of HTML you want to pay attention to when creating posting your comment. Every page on your website should have a unique and descriptive meta tag and title tag. The meta tag doesn't actually display on the page, but search engines display this text in the search results, which is in the back end. So it should provide good intel for spiders, and it should also be compelling to readers because they're going to use it to decide whether to click on your site or not. So basically that's what that means, is it's going to be on the back end. The text in the title tag gets displayed in two places: in the search listings, where it is the blue clickable text, which I just showed you, and display up there. Excuse me. And at the top of the browser in the window. It's a good idea to include any relevant keywords in your meta, and your title tags. But again, on the other side, the lower keyword density, you don't want to look too frequent, or what we call spammy. I don't want to have something in there like 10 or 15 times. Maybe 3 times, maximum of 4, but you want it somewhere in there on the title, your meta tags, and maybe twice in your content description. Because the spiders can say, well, this site is about dog catching. I see it in the title, it says dog catching. I see it here in my paragraph, says dog catching, and you're talking about dog catching. Well, I can understand that. But you don't want to put in there dog catching this, dog catching that, and 10, 20 times. That's gone. Those days are gone. They can pick up what you're talking about by simply peppering in those keywords that we're talking about up to 3 to 4 times. That's it. The longer the more content, the more times you want to mention your keyword. So that's how you want to look at it. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So, all right. So, another important piece of the code to use is your alt tag. It's used to identifying pictures. As I said earlier, spiders, they can't read the image blind, so you have to describe the image to them with words or order to ensure that your images get properly identified or indexed in search engines along with your website content. The alternate attribute to this is where you do this. Well, the best way to do that is you can do it in the editing, and you can slide it in your HTML code so that you won't see it. You can see where it says, right here, IMGSR smiley face GIF, alternate equals smiley face. Now, Google spiders can't understand the image, but they can understand that this right here, by telling it's an image, IMG, now they can say, well, this piece of content on this page is a picture. I can't read a picture, but this is telling me it's about a smiley face. And this is highly underutilized. This is one of the best things you can do. So if you're going to put a picture up there about dog catching, you want to save that picture about Jill's dog catching. You want to put the keyword before you put the photo inside your website. So those guys who are building your website should know this. So if you have a business called Jill's Dog Catching, make sure they're saving your pictures as Jill's dog catching. There you go, guys. Some more SEO tips. All right, so we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about off-page optimization. We talked about on-page optimization a little bit. This is the part of SEO that's a little trickier, but very effective. It's trickier because you can't directly control all of the levels. So all you can do is try to indirectly influence them. And that's what this is about. That's why a lot of people say, well, this ethical or not ethical. Of course it's ethical. It's out there for us to do. So if you recall, Google determines the rank of a page based on a couple of key factors, relevance and importance. And the algorithm that it used to determine the importance by measuring the popularity of a page, which is, how they determine by the number of quality of links that they're using, which are like votes pointing to it. That's why social media is so important right now, because you want to use that as a doorway of building, partner relationships with other sites, Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Tumblr, Twitter. You want those type of good links going back to your site. Matter of fact, you should not even have a website that doesn't even have those that I just mentioned to you. So it takes a lot to get things ranked now, and you want to make sure you have those things in your toolkit. So, back in the day, a link was a link in Google's eyes, but today Google's more discriminative about the links and how they look, So if the New York Times and Wall Street Journal links to your website, Google will be very impressed because these guys have been around for a while, and it doesn't look spammy. It doesn't look authoritative. It doesn't look non-authoritative. And then there's some trust factor to that link. So they're basing who and where your links are coming from. And however, if you have a website, Joe Six-Pack links to your website, and Google will be less impressed because you won't see a bump in your position, because if somebody's talking about something relevant news that has nothing to do with six-packs and this guy links to your site, and they're like, well, it happens. But I'm not going to give you any, we call it link juice factors for it, or any credit towards that link to help you rank even further. Building relationships and credibility in your industry and your marketplace is very worthwhile endeavor, because relationships and credibility result in, you guessed it, inbound links and link structure factors. So Google likes that. You're branding yourself, and you're talking about things that are in your niche, and you're becoming more relevant and more fluent. They like that. They're going to give you credit for it, thus ranking you more in a more stronger hold in the first page of Google in that environment. Needs to say that, these are excellent. There's excellent reasons for you to nurture relationships on these social sites, because more people are talking about you and what you can do and their capability. That makes you more popular and more sustainable in Google's eyes. And that's how they can read that, because now they got links that go back from a social site to your site, and people are talking about you, and they're like, well, it sounds relevant to me. So, but they can't measure your metrics for Facebook and in LinkedIn until that link links back. And there's like, well, they're talking about social media, so somebody's talking about the site. That's as far as that can go. But know that your efforts in that department of relevance will pay off dividends in SEO department big time. So you got to make sure you have credible, relevant links. And, like I was telling you before, one of the best things you can do is to incorporate social sharing. So here's a link building strategy, and that's been growing for importance for the last couple of years, and it's becoming even more important in this upcoming year and beyond. For a long time, Google's algorithm didn't even match weight to links, and then it came to social media sites like Twitter and Facebook. But that's changing very fast. Now it's effort to present fresh, timely information to users. Google has begun to give social media links more weight. And this is a great development for website owners. But not only can you drive traffic and encourage sharing of your content with social media, but you can also see a rank boosting in those particular factors and those links that get back to your site. So you want to make sure that you are making it easy for people to refer to you on social networks by including social sharing buttons along with your content. So that's just another way to increase traffic and stuff like that and get your information out there and your relevance. Another proven way to increase website traffic is to start a blog about your company or your product and start telling people about things like that and becoming an expert in the area. So according to a HubSpot study, business blogging leads to about 51% website visitors. 55%, guys, is highly significant. I don't know about you, but wow, that is very, very relevant, especially, if you have the experience and the knowledge power in that particular area. So, there's a lot of people out there who, think blogging is a waste of time, but it's really not, especially if, you're the authority in your area. And it's a great marketing tool. And, if you have rich content, it's educational, and content is still king. So if you got relevant, persuasive content on there, and that's where you want. That's where you want to be. And it separates you from the others who are not doing things that are not marketing. So blogging is another form of marketing, really. So in many ways, you can actually gain and get the leg up on your competitors because they're not understanding how you're getting all this extra traffic to your site and all these extra people into your front door and making all these extra sales and on your products, goods, and services. So you can think about it. So last thing I'll mention in this section is directories. All right. So directories are places on the web where you can get your website and your business listed. We call that, associating yourself with brick and mortar online with Google. So directories are great SEO for SEO purposes. They offer an opportunity to get inbound links from other sites. For one thing, it also helps in the search engines for local businesses, especially if you're in a small town or larger town. Somebody can actually find you, and people who can find you will search you out. And and the searchers gain more confidence in the website and business once they have a real customer reviews. So it's a win-win. So when I was showing you about the reviews earlier, getting yourself properly listed not only can help you rank, but having reviews about your products, goods, and services will not only help you rank, but it will draw more attention to you. And if you got a 5-star reputation, wow. And everybody else got a 2 to 3-star reputation, they're definitely going to go for you first because somebody has already had the experience of dealing with you. Okay. And we can also teach you about reputation, how to deal with your customers, and how to make that work for you. So, well, here's the deal. All right. SEO, it's not a silver bullet. It can be hard, time consuming, and sometimes results don't come back as quickly as you like. All right. You got to take time with it. But SEO is worth the investment. The data proves reputation is worth it. People testify to it every day. In fact, Merchant Circle survey of small business answers asked if you had to put all your marketing time and budget into one channel, what would it be? Guess what the answer was? You got it. SEO. SEO is considered the single most important marketing channel for small businesses today. Guys, I cannot, express that more strongly than today's model. SEO is out there. I mean, it's one of the things that you need in your business today. It's a marketing tool that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I say right now, because, you're going to need it. So I know we talked about a lot of stuff. Overwhelming, don't be. Just give us a call. One of the best practices for that is, gbhjglobal.com. You can reach us at Reputation SEO at gbhjglobal.com. You can call us 678-653-0237, 678-653-0237. Go on our website, gbhjglobal.com, and book us. And the reason why is so that we can give you that, that one-on-one time that you may need, of course. That way, you can ask your questions, and then we can go over some scenarios, see what's the best direction for you to go in. We can help you analyze some stuff. And if you'd like to discuss the potential plan to how to, of attack for your business, don't be afraid. Give us a call. We don't bite. I've, been doing this for a while and like helping grow small businesses. And that's what we're here to do. Helping you succeed is one of our best things. So we're going on to about, a little over an hour and a quarter here. And we're going to be heading up to 2 hours. We want to make sure we get some questions in. And I want to make sure I get these in. So let's try to grab some of these. We're going to open the floor for some questions. Looks like we have a few that's currently in the queue. And, I'll take the first one. And I'll take all of them, actually. Let's see. Is buying or trading links a good link building strategy? That's a great question. Sounds like you've been in SEO, or you're doing SEO in your current business, which is good. As for buying links, I think you should spend more money elsewhere, largely because buying links is gaming the system. And SEO is not about getting a boost you don't deserve. You're better off building links the old-fashioned way, creating relationships and offering great content so that people are naturally inclined to attract towards your site. So some links are good, some links are bad, but that's my opinion. More content, greater content, sharing it is going to get you there a lot more, a lot faster, in my opinion. It's going to be a lot more quality and a lot more value. And as for trading links, this definitely is not worth your time. No one knows exactly how Google algorithm works. So if they tell you, I know what Google wants, I know how it's doing it, it can work for that point of period of time. But where you will not go wrong is fresh content, relevant content about your industry. Never go wrong. And then your stuff will get shared automatically. And you go out there, start sharing and blogging on other people's information about your content. Those are relevant links and various links, actually, that will go back to your website and your content that will also help you rank. So, again, no one knows how Google's algorithm works, but there's a good deal of evidence that it detects link swapping schemes. It doesn't necessarily penalize people who appear to be trading links, but the evidence shows that it doesn't reward it at all. So all these fast and old school tricks or some of them just not working. But, like I said, content is king. The more content, the more pages you put on there, the more information you're going to give Google, the better off you are going to be on your website. Okay, next question. What tools and resources do you recommend? Well, Google has a ton of great webmaster tools that are free. These are really the only must-haves tools in the SEO world. You can use some others and to gauge your progress. A rank tracker about your website. As for educational resources, there are a ton of great websites out there. SEO Moz is one of my favorites. Search Engine Land is another heavyweight that's got a lot of readership that can tell you about some of the things that you might have questions for before you go into SEO or hire some guys like ourselves. And, pretty much you want to stay along those borders so you can educate yourself on how it should work and who you should hire for you. What's the best thing for your business? Another great question that just came in is, can you help me do keyword research? You bet. As a, client of ours, we always help you steer towards the right keywords in your market. We tell you to pick 2, and sometimes we can rank you for 10, but we only guarantee you for, 1 or 2 keywords on the first page of Google. And we look at certain relevance and see how that works. And if we don't get you on the first page of YouTube or Google, you don't pay. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, that's correct. If I can't get you on the first page of YouTube or Google, you don't pay. So the first thing I do is I do the research to put you on YouTube first, and then we go and rank you on the website, which is the much harder version of that. So that's how we do things. We rank you on the first page, or you don't pay. That's the first page of YouTube or the first page of Google, whatever comes first. We rank you on the first page. You don't pay. Once we rank you, then we'll talk payment structures. So, you can just contact us or just go to GBHJ Global. That's gbhjglobal.com and, book some time with us. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Baldwin with gbhjglobal.com. And again, if you like some assistance putting these tips and strategies into actions, we'd love to help you out. Just get in touch with us. Okay, so you guys take care, and thanks for joining me. Thanks.